Regenesis Demiurge, Doom of Dimension. We have a 25/25, of course, level 10 Dark Illusion special summon effect monster. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your grave by banishing 2 monsters from your grave with 2500 original attack or defense. You can only special summon Regenesis Demiurge once per turn this way. If this card is special summoned, you can target cards your opponent controls and or in their graveyard up to the number of your banished monsters with 2500 attack or defense. Return them to the hand. Monsters your opponent controls lose 2500 attack during the battle phase only. Yeah. As someone who likes Regenesis, I think this card is very disappointing, unfortunately. Because hear me out. Regenesis is a deck that obviously thrives in a grind game. And you're trying to get things started, you're trying to get the game under control, and once you are at that point, your deck is really good because you have all those cards that like return from the graveyard every turn. And as soon as you have the game under control, your deck can really outgrind a lot of other decks in the format. Even in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, the grind game aspect of Regenesis is pretty decent. 2 problems that Regenesis has. On the one hand, it has some consistency issues, where sometimes you just don't draw your good Regenesis starters, or you draw one of them, but not together with another 2500 attack monster, and it just doesn't quite work out. But for the most part, Regenesis is like decently consistent. The other part is like, as good as your grind game is, the deck is just not good enough to get to that controlling game state. It is really hard for Regenesis to get the game under control because your decks are your cards are all way too late game focused. They don't do enough immediately. And your board is usually just going to get taken apart and you're probably getting OTK'd before you even get the grind game ability of your deck going, right? This card helps with nothing in this regard. It helps with nothing. It is not a starter. It is not a card that even remotely increases your ceiling on the first turn of the game. Or helps you break boards, or help you establish a board that is harder to OTK over. It does essentially nothing for Regenesis. Which is pretty disappointing as someone. I really like the idea of like a deck that like tries to establish a field and tries to win the grind game. And I don't think Regenesis is like particularly toxic or anything. I think the playstyle of the deck is really fun. I would have liked to see another card that maybe helps you establish or break a board without being like too broken. And this card is just none of that. This is like really, yeah. It's to enable kills on turn 3, just irrelevant utility. I mean, the thing is like, I don't want you. Regenesis is not even supposed to kill you on turn 3, right? Because that kind of defeats the purpose of the deck. Because that kind of like, that's what every deck, or like a lot of decks already do. They make a board with decent follow-up and then they can win on turn 3. That's not what Regenesis, at least for me, was not supposed to do, right? I feel like it was supposed to play a longer game than even that. Right? That's how I feel about it, at least. I don't know. Because if I want to play a deck that makes a solid board, has good follow-up, is hard to kill, and then just wins on the turn after, I can just play Malice. I can play Mitsurugi. I can play Ryzeal. All of those decks already do that, you know? This does not even feel like a Regenesis card to me. I don't know. I'm not disappointed. I'm a little disappointed by that one. I was hoping for more. They need something to meaningfully slow the pace down, like a Regenesis nib. Okay, I mean, maybe, I don't know if Regenesis nib is the word I would use for it, but I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with like anything that isn't a floodgate to slow the game down, basically. Like, I would not like to see Regenesis being a floodgate deck where you win the game in the long run because you stun your opponent. That would be cringe. But like a card that does slow your opponent down without floodgating, I think would be cool. I agree with that sentiment. But yeah.